Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Right, students, now we are going to continue our materials as I have explained about some aspects or some elements of prose before. We're going to continue, and today we are going to discuss and I will explain about plot, characters, and characterization. First, let's start with plot. Plot is defined as a story sequence of incidents arranged in dramatic structure. So in plot, you could see the sequence of incidents of the story. The incidents are arranged in such a dramatic structure so that it becomes a good story to read. Here, you could see the free text triangle. It's from Aristotle. It tells about the phase or the sequence of the incidents of the story. For example, here we have beginning, and then complication, climax, falling action, and end. In easy way, we could use this one. Actually, they're the same from Aristotle, and it is improved in some different ways because of adding new steps, 2 new steps actually. But here we could see that first we have exposition. Exposition also has another name, that is incentive moments. In this phase, the story is just told like introduced to the reader. For example, there are 4 best friends, and the introduction of the story is about the best friends doing their normal activities as usual. So those kind of introduction or the first phase of the story is called exposition or incentive moments. And we have point here when it moves to the conflict or it moves to another action that changes the story. That, for example, when the 4 best friends finally become different each other because of a new person coming, it means that this step or this phase means it is the turning point to let's say rising actions. We have not only one action actually. We could have many actions here, many incidents, many conflicts before it moves to the climax. So the change of the first person, second person, until the fourth member of the best friends or the group, and then because of the one person coming, and then the conflict. For example, there is a conflict of love, hatred, and any other thing that could be varied. So those phase are called rising actions. And then because of these actions usually give question to the reader, what will be the end of the this sequence of events, what will be the end of these actions. So we have climax. Climax is the peak of the conflict happening in the story. For example, we have 4 characters and 1 new character, and the first conflict from the first character, second conflict from the second character, third character, fourth character, and combined all until the peak of the story. That is the climax of the story. And then we have falling action. Like rising action, falling action could be just one action, could be more, could be many. So it could be falling actions. It means that actions done by the characters in resolving their problems, in, let's say, moving from the peak of the conflict and to lead the story to the end of the story, to the resolution. So after we've got that, it means that we have reached the denouement. It means that that's the end, or that all stories of the prose or the story, all conflicts of the story have come to the resolution. It means that that's the final step of the triangle of free text triangle or the sequence of the event. So that is the introduction of how you create a story, how you give or serve the sequence of the incidents or events of the story, and that is the free text triangle, and it is so normal to be used by all authors in creating prose or fiction work. After this, we have some types of plot or some kinds of plot. First, flash forward. What is meant by some types or some kinds here is like the way the plot is served. For example, previously we have seen the free text. That's the normal sequence of the story, from the introduction and then the conflict and then the climax, and to come to the resolution. But how it is served or how it is delivered to the readers, that is the way we consider this as the types of plot. Flash forward. Flash forward means that every single thing just moves forward, and you could just follow the story, starting from the first step to the end, to the resolution. And it is normal that you could see from, let's say, film or serials, that this is the normal way in serving the plot of the story. And then after that, we also have flashback. Flashback means that when the story is introduced in a point that is not the beginning, it is usually in the middle of the story. For example, if you see a couple years ago, there was it's like a serial, I don't know, it's serial or it's just like a TV show. We call that as Hidayah. So in bahasa Indonesia, it's like jenazah penuh belatung. So the first step or the way the story is introduced, not from the beginning, but suddenly from the way the dead body is being buried. So the conflict starts from the process of burying the dead body, and then all the people who see the dead body, and then they were shocked of something happening to the body, and then they remembered something happening. They remember something happening in the past about the habit or the what the actions have been done by the dead body. So that is what is so called like flashback. So one point in the middle of the story opens the story, and then the reader is just like being put back to the first step of the conflict of the story. And then after that we have foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is almost like flash forward, but then foreshadowing is rather, it's like giving clue to what will happen in the future. It means that the reader would predict, because of the clues, would predict that the story will be like this, the story will continue like this. And this kind of methodology or a method is used by author, could be to, let's say, to be rather tricky, to play the emotion of the readers, because what the reader have expected before from seeing the clues that the story will be like this, it turns out to be different, because of it is modified by the author, and the author knows exactly that the readers would think about that, would think that the story will be this one, but then he changed what has been predicted by the readers, and he gives something different. That is foreshadowing. It actually moves forward, but then it has clues that could be let's say used by the author in playing the emotion or the let's say prediction of the readers. That's foreshadowing. After that we have episodic. Episodic means that the story consists of, let's say, parts of the story, and then each part of the story could be independent story. You could say that in, let's say, what is it, comic or Marvel's superheroes, we have X-Men, we have some other superheroes, but then the X-Men itself could be independently told or served to us as his own story. X-Men 1, X-Men 2, etc. X-Men when he met someone from Japan, and when he met someone else that was just like him, so it becomes independent story. So it means that those stories, if they're combined in one story, it becomes one story. But actually, they could be independent story. They could be different story which has connection with others, which contributes to a story. That's episodic plot. The example for me could be seen from A Visit from the Coon Squad by Jennifer Egan. It has, if I'm not mistaken, 13 or 14 chapters, and actually each chapter could be considered as a story, an independent story. It could be considered as a short story, but then those chapters, when they are combined into one novel, the author itself, the author herself told the readers that it is a novel. It means that it's a unity coming from those stories. That's episodic plot. Combined, we are talking also about Jennifer Egan. Jennifer Egan, if you read her novel A Visit from the Coon Squad, she plays this kind of plot, because this is not flash forward. This is not, for me, this is not also a flashback, because it moves from one point, it goes back to some period in the past, but it moves forward after the period of when the story was initially told, explained. So for example, from 1990, I forgot the detail, from 90, if we can consider the first as 1993, be back to 1978 and move forward to 2026. So that's not flashback. That is not also flash forward. That is not also foreshadowing. Okay, that's episodic. But the way it is served, it could be recorded as combined plot. And then those are the explanation about plot and the way it is served with the types of plot. Now we have characters, characterization. Different author, different experts sometimes explain this rather differently, but then please pay attention. In this class, we differentiate these terms: characters, character, and characterization. In Bahasa Indonesia, characters is the persons we meet in the story. It means that this is the character in Bahasa Indonesia, and then the character is the personality or the character of those persons, that we call that as watak. And then characterization is the way it is served, the way it is delivered to the readers, the process by which the writer reveals the personality of the characters, the way the personality is delivered to the readers. That's characterization, or as penokohan. So please pay attention. Characters, even though we can consider it as one character, two characters, etc., but in the term it's characters. It is the term is characters to represent the persons or the characters of the story, while the character is the personality. And then characterization is the way the character of the characters is revealed to the reader. Now, from the characters, because we know that as tokoh, we have main character. Sometimes it is just one main character, sometimes, or it could be more than one main character. It could be two or more main characters, and then we have secondary characters. It means that the main characters, from one of the way to analyze the main characters is how many or how much. If we talked about the presentation of the existing characters, that's the way we analyze the main character or secondary character. How many times or how much time the characters could be seen here. That's the main characters. And then secondary characters or supporting characters, one of which could be in supporting the story. the story usually is mostly about the main characters, and then the secondary characters, they don't play the most important part. They just play to support, to make the story exist or alive. So that is the main character and secondary characters. And people consider usually main character as the protagonist. But then I have taught students some years, and then when I ask them about what a protagonist is, they always say that, okay, that's a good character. That's it's like ideal character. No, protagonist means the character that is above the story, the character that the story tells us. So that's protagonist. Characters that support it, characters that support the story, that's protagonist. For example, what is it? Fast and Furious. Too Fast, Too Furious. If I'm not mistaken, it's Fast and Furious. If we pay attention, actually, Fast and Furious is about people who race illegally, and then they still in. I forgot. Fast and Furious 7 or 4, or I forgot that, but they steal gasoline. They steal something. They steal cars. So that if we talk about personality, that's not good people. They're not good people. That's not a good character. But then, because the story is about that, about the process of how it could be a good action, and then with good race, and then good conflict, and then it's also about the emotion of those characters, even though actually they are, let's say, thieves or people who are against law. They are protagonists. Even the police officers, the first Fast and Furious, if I'm mistaken, the police officer is the antagonist, because they are against the story. The story is not about police being good police officer. The story is not about that. So this is the difference between the understanding of usually of by, let's say, normal students, new students, before they are taught about the definition of the characters. They consider protagonists as good people, good characters of the novel. No, it doesn't. They don't have to be always good. It just depends on the story, what the story is about, and the supporting characters for the story. Those are protagonists, and those people who are against the story, they are antagonists. Now we move to character. We have flat, round. Flat means that the character is just like that, flat. From the first time we read from the first time the character is introduced to us until the end of the story, this is like that way. So let's say the character is just good or just bad. That's round. That's flat. When the character is round, it means that the character changes from one let's say scene to the next scenes, or from one incident to another, from one conflict to another. So sometimes he is good, sometimes we cannot predict that he just changes to another type of character. So that's round character. And for the character, as you always know, it's got good, bad, funny, etc. And now about characterization. Characterization is the way I have told you before, that it's a way about the way that character is revealed. So we have two ways. First is direct, and second is indirect way done by the writer. Direct means that the characters is just told from the narrator, introduced directly to the readers. So that's the way we have the characters introduced in a direct way. So we don't have, let's say, we don't have to reveal the characters by paying attention on the way the characters are recorded by other characters. No, it is just simply explained in the story. Could be from the narrator, or from the narrator explained about the character. And then indirect is that we could see from the dialogue, from the points of view, other points of view. What is meant by points of view here is like from other points of view, from the points of view of other characters. The way other characters record the character, that is indirect way in characterization. So this character, it is not told about the way, the character of the characters. It is not just explained to the reader. We could get it from the conflict, we could get it from the dialogue, we could get it from the points of view of other characters. That's indirect way of characterization. So we have to pay attention more on the conflict, more on the dialogues. Now I think it has been completely explained. Thank you for watching and listening, paying attention on the explanation from the very beginning to the end. And don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notification if you want to get the updates, because I don't know whether I remember I have more classes now. If I forgot to inform you about the updates, you could check it if you subscribe to this channel. If you have, let's say, problems or still difficulties in understanding the explanation, please, no hesitation, don't hesitate to ask me in our WhatsApp group. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.